Important projects in China's Belt and Road Initiative. Overview of the Belt and Road Initiative (BRI). Launched in 2013 by Chinese President Xi Jinping, the Belt and Road Initiative (BRI) is a global development strategy that aims to enhance regional connectivity and embrace a brighter economic future through building infrastructure, increasing trade, and fostering economic cooperation across Asia, Europe, Africa, and beyond. As of August 2023, the initiative has led to the signing of 215 cooperation documents with 155 countries, underscoring its vast scope and ambition. Key projects and regions of focus. 1. Africa. Africa has become a significant focus of the BRI, with 52 countries participating. Notable projects include Addis Ababa Djibouti Railway. This railway has transformed the transportation landscape between Ethiopia and Djibouti, cutting travel time from 3 days to approximately 12 hours. It is pivotal for Ethiopia's trade access to the sea. Mombasa the Nairobi Railway, Kenya, costing $3.2 billion. This railway is Kenya's largest infrastructure project since independence. It has reportedly increased Kenya's GDP by 1.5% and created 46,000 jobs. Electric train system in Egypt, with investments in a new electric train system for its new capital Egypt, exemplifies the BRI's impact on enhancing energy infrastructure in developing nations. Djibouti infrastructure projects. China has invested heavily in Djibouti, financing approximately 40% of its infrastructure projects, including a military base, which signifies China's expanding influence in the Horn of Africa. 2. Economic impact and debt concerns. China's investments in Africa reached $23 billion by 2020. While these investments have benefited local economies, concerns about rising debt levels have emerged in countries like Djibouti, Kenya, and Uganda. The debt is often linked to significant BRI projects, causing some nations to reassess their borrowing strategies. 3. Europe. In Europe, the BRI has fostered strategic partnerships with countries like Poland, Greece, and Italy. Poland, as one of the first European countries to sign a cooperation agreement with China, Poland aims to become a gateway for Chinese goods into Europe. Greece, the port of Piraeus has been revitalized through Chinese investment, enhancing its strategic role in the Mediterranean and facilitating trade routes. Italy became the first G7 nation to join the BRI in 2019, marking a significant endorsement of China's initiative by a major economy. 4. Central Asia. Central Asia is crucial for the BRI due to its geographic location along the Silk Road. Significant developments include Kazakhstan. The country has invested about $30 billion in infrastructure projects, establishing a critical link between Europe and China via modern highways. Uzbekistan. The BRI provides Uzbekistan with opportunities to expand its trade routes, including enhancing power and transportation infrastructure. 5. Cultural and diplomatic engagement. The BRI also serves as a tool for cultural exchange and diplomatic relationship building, particularly in Africa. Through educational programs and cultural initiatives, China seeks to deepen ties beyond mere economic interests. It also raises significant challenges related to debt sustainability and local economic impacts. The interplay of economic, cultural, and geopolitical factors continues to shape the trajectory of the BRI, making it a focal point for international relations in the 21st century. Here are some counterintuitive insights related to the Belt and Road Initiative BRI highlighted in the provided content. 1. Debt versus development. While many narratives emphasize the economic benefits and infrastructural development brought about by China's investments in countries participating in the BRI, there is a significant concern regarding debt sustainability. Countries like Djibouti, Kenya, and Uganda have borrowed heavily from China, leading to warnings about a potential debt trap. This paradox shows that while infrastructure projects may accelerate economic growth, they can also lead to financial distress for the borrowing nations, contradicting the expectation that such projects would only yield positive economic outcomes. 2. Involvement of European nations. The BRI is often perceived as primarily benefiting developing countries, particularly in Asia and Africa. However, several European nations, including Italy and Greece, have actively engaged with the BRI, suggesting a complex interplay of interests that challenges the binary view of developed versus developing nations. Poland, for example, aims to become a gateway for Chinese goods into Europe, indicating that European countries see strategic benefits in collaborating with China despite the potential risks associated with dependency on Chinese investments. 3. Cultural diplomacy versus economic interests. The BRI is framed not just as an economic initiative but also as a means to foster cultural ties. In Africa, for instance, China is investing in cultural exchanges alongside infrastructure projects. This dual approach is counterintuitive because it suggests that economic motivations are intertwined with soft power strategies, challenging the notion that economic aid is purely transactional. It implies that countries may be more willing to accept debt if they perceive cultural goodwill or a shared historical narrative with China. Fourth, mixed outcomes in economic zones. The success of China's Eastern Industrial Zone in Ethiopia was supposed to catalyze local economic development, including the establishment of a military base. This juxtaposition of economic investment with military strategy challenges the traditional view of development aid as solely benevolent. It raises questions about the motives behind such partnerships and whether they truly prioritize the host nation's development or serve China's geopolitical ambitions. This raises the question of whether these countries are becoming overly reliant on Chinese financing, which could limit their economic sovereignty in the long run. This dependency can be seen as contradictory to the notion of independent development, as reliance on a singular foreign power might hinder local economic diversification and resilience. 8. Environmental and local community impact. Although BRI projects are often framed within a narrative of infrastructure development and economic growth, there are significant environmental concerns and negative impacts on local communities. For example, while some hydropower projects in Ecuador are reported to have minimal environmental impacts, there are also projects that faced backlash due to corruption and detrimental effects on local communities. This duality challenges the presumption that all infrastructure projects contribute positively to sustainable development. These insights highlight the complexities and contradictions inherent in the Belt and Road Initiative, suggesting that the outcomes of such a vast endeavor are not as straightforward as they might initially appear. The Belt and Road Initiative (BRI) is a significant global development strategy launched by China aimed at enhancing connectivity and cooperation among countries across Asia, Europe, and Africa. While many discussions focus on high-profile projects and their immediate impacts, several critical aspects of the BRI are often overlooked but carry substantial long-term implications. Here are some of those less discussed yet significant elements. 1. Debt diplomacy and sovereignty risks. One of the most significant yet often understated concerns surrounding the BRI is the issue of debt diplomacy, where countries that engage heavily with China find themselves in precarious financial situations. For instance, nations like Djibouti and Sri Lanka have faced severe debt burdens after entering into agreements for large-scale infrastructure projects. Significance: this situation raises alarms about national sovereignty, as countries may be forced to concede strategic assets like ports to China if they fail to meet repayment obligations. The leasing of the Hambantota port in Sri Lanka to a Chinese company after debt defaults serves as a stark warning of how infrastructure investments can turn into geopolitical leverage against weaker nations. 2. Environmental impact and sustainability concerns. While the BRI promotes rapid development, the environmental implications of large infrastructure projects are often glossed over. Projects like the Karuma hydroelectric power station in Uganda and various road constructions in Africa can lead to significant ecological disruption, deforestation, and loss of biodiversity. Significance: as climate change becomes an increasingly pressing global concern, the environmental footprint of BRI projects could lead to long-term ecological consequences that undermine the very development goals the initiative aims to achieve. Sustainable practices must be integrated into BRI projects to ensure they do not exacerbate environmental degradation. 3. Labor practices and local employment. The influx of Chinese workers into countries where BRI projects are underway often leads to tensions. For example, in Africa, the employment of Chinese labor rather than local labor has sparked criticism, especially in regions facing high unemployment rates. Significance: the perceived lack of benefits for local populations can breed resentment towards China and its investments, undermining the soft power that the BRI aims to establish. For the BRI to be successful, it must prioritize local employment and skills transfer, thereby fostering goodwill and sustainable development in host countries. 4. Geopolitical tensions and regional rivalries. The BRI is not just an economic initiative, it is also a tool of geopolitical strategy. Countries that align with the BRI, such as Pakistan and certain Central Asian republics, may find themselves in a complex web of dependencies that could lead to increased regional tensions, particularly with countries like India and the United States, which view the BRI skeptically. Significance: this dynamic can lead to geopolitical instability in regions already fraught with tension. The potential for conflict over resources, influence, and strategic routes is a critical consideration that often remains in the background of discussions about the BRI's economic benefits. 5. Cultural exchange and soft power dynamics. While the BRI is primarily viewed through the lens of infrastructure and trade, it also serves as a platform for cultural exchange and the promotion of Chinese culture abroad. However, the effectiveness of this soft power strategy is often underestimated. Significance: cultural initiatives accompanying BRI projects, such as educational exchanges and cultural programs, can foster deeper ties between China and participating countries. However, the success of these initiatives depends on the perception of China as a partner, which is influenced by the aforementioned issues of debt, labor practices, and geopolitical tensions. Neglecting these aspects could hinder the potential for genuine cultural diplomacy. 6. Technological transfer and innovation gaps. The BRI aims not only to build infrastructure but also to facilitate technological cooperation. However, the actual transfer of technology and the development of local capacities can often be insufficient, leaving host countries reliant on Chinese expertise and technology. Significance: without the establishment of local innovation ecosystems, countries may miss out on the long-term benefits of technological advancement. This could lead to a cycle of dependency rather than empowerment, undermining the BRI's goal of fostering sustainable development. 7. Health and safety standards in construction. The construction practices associated with BRI projects have sometimes been criticized for lacking adherence to international health and safety standards, which can endanger workers and communities. Significance: ensuring high health and safety standards is crucial for the long-term viability of projects and the reputation of the BRI. Poor safety records can lead to accidents that not only harm individuals but also tarnish the image of Chinese investments globally. 8. Long-term economic viability of projects. Many BRI projects, while grand in scale, face questions regarding their long-term economic viability. For instance, the economic benefits of railways built in countries with limited industrial output are often uncertain. Significance: evaluating the economic feasibility of projects is essential to prevent the potential wastage of resources and ensure that investments lead to sustainable development. A focus on economically viable projects that meet the actual needs of local populations is crucial for the BRI's success. Conclusion: the Belt and Road Initiative is undoubtedly a transformative endeavor with the potential to reshape global trade and economic landscapes. However, overlooking the complexities of debt dependency, environmental impact, local labor dynamics, and geopolitical ramifications could lead to significant challenges that undermine its objectives. Addressing these issues proactively will be critical for ensuring that the BRI achieves its intended goals of fostering sustainable development and building genuine partnerships across nations. 1. Infrastructure investments. The Belt and Road Initiative (BRI) heavily emphasizes infrastructure development, particularly in regions like Africa and Central Asia. Major projects such as the Addis Ababa Djibouti Railway and the Mombasa Nairobi Railway in Africa highlight the initiative's impact on transportation efficiency and economic growth. These projects have not only reduced travel times significantly but have also contributed to local economies' job creation and overall GDP growth. The initiative aims to build roads, railways, ports, and energy facilities, with China investing billions in countries that often lack substantial infrastructure. 2. Economic impact and debt concerns. While the BRI is poised to offer substantial economic benefits, concerns surrounding rising debt levels in participating countries have emerged. For instance, countries like Djibouti, Kenya, and Uganda have incurred significant debt burdens from Chinese loans. Although studies show that Chinese investments have positively influenced local economies, critics warn of potential debt traps where nations might struggle to repay loans, leading to increased dependency on China. This duality of economic opportunity versus financial risk necessitates careful analysis of how such investments are structured and the long-term implications for recipient countries. 3. Strategic partnerships in Europe and Central Asia. The BRI has forged strategic partnerships beyond Asia, particularly in Europe and Central Asia, where countries like Poland, Greece, and Italy have engaged in significant trade agreements with China. The revitalization of Greece's port of Piraeus through Chinese investment exemplifies how BRI projects can enhance trade routes and economic ties between China and European nations. Central Asia, with significant infrastructure investments in countries like Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, serves as a critical link in connecting China with Europe, showcasing the BRI's role in reshaping global trade dynamics. 4. Cultural and diplomatic relationships. Beyond economic and infrastructure goals, the BRI also aims to foster cultural and diplomatic ties. This is particularly evident in Africa, where China seeks to cultivate relationships through cultural exchanges and soft power initiatives. The BRI is seen not only as a vehicle for trade and investment but also as a means of enhancing China's influence globally. The cultural dimension of the BRI can impact perceptions of China in partner countries, influencing public opinion and diplomatic relations and reinforcing the notion of mutual development and cooperation. These points reflect the multifaceted nature of the BRI, illustrating its potential benefits and challenges while highlighting the complex interplay between economic growth, debt sustainability, strategic partnerships, and cultural diplomacy. 1. The Marshall Plan 1948. The Marshall Plan, formerly known as the European Recovery Program, was an American initiative launched in 1948 to aid Western Europe in economic recovery after World War II. It provided over $12 billion, approximately $130 billion today, in economic assistance to help rebuild European economies, stabilize governments, and prevent the spread of communism. The plan is often cited as a successful example of foreign aid that significantly contributed to the rapid recovery of European nations and the establishment of strong economic ties between the United States and Europe. 2. The Suez Canal construction 1859 to 1869. The construction of the Suez Canal, which connects the Mediterranean Sea to the Red Sea, is a significant historical infrastructure project that transformed global trade routes. Initiated by French diplomat Ferdinand de Lesseps in the 19th century, the canal was completed in 1869 and drastically reduced the travel distance for ships between Europe and Asia. The canal became a crucial asset for maritime trade, impacting the economies of countries involved. Much like the modern Belt and Road Initiative aims to enhance trade routes across continents. 3. The Transcontinental Railroad 1863 to 1869. The Transcontinental Railroad was a monumental infrastructure project in the United States that connected the eastern U.S. rail network with the Pacific coast. Completed in 1869, it facilitated the movement of goods and people across vast distances, significantly contributing to the economic development of the western United States. The railroad exemplified how infrastructure can promote economic growth and integration akin to the objectives of the Belt and Road Initiative in enhancing connectivity between Asia, Europe, and Africa. Future outlook, predictions for the Belt and Road Initiative (BRI). The Belt and Road Initiative (BRI), launched by China in 2013, is set to shape global trade and infrastructure development for years to come. As of now, the BRI has signed agreements with 155 countries, leading to significant investments in infrastructure across Asia, Europe, Africa, and beyond. Looking ahead, several key trends and predictions can be anticipated for the future of the BRI. 1. Expansion into new markets. Emerging economies. In the coming years, the BRI is likely to expand its reach into more emerging markets, particularly in Africa and Latin America. Countries like Nigeria, Tanzania, and various nations in South America are seen as potential new partners. This expansion will be driven by the need for infrastructure development in these regions and the increasing influence of China as a global economic power. Southeast Asia. With the completion of major projects such as the Jakarta-Bandung high-speed railway, Southeast Asia will likely see further investments in transportation and energy infrastructure. Countries like Malaysia, Vietnam, and Thailand are expected to be key players as they seek to enhance connectivity and trade with China. 2. Focus on sustainable development. Green BRI. As global awareness of climate change increases, the BRI is expected to pivot towards more sustainable and environmentally friendly projects. Initiatives that incorporate renewable energy sources such as solar and wind power will likely receive more attention. China has already committed to making the BRI more aligned with sustainable development goals, which will influence project selection and funding. Debt sustainability. The concern over debt traps has led to a re-evaluation of project financing. Future projects may incorporate stricter financial assessments to ensure that participating countries can manage their debts effectively. This shift will likely lead to more transparent and equitable financing practices. 3. Strengthening regional connectivity. Multimodal transport networks. The BRI is expected to further develop multimodal transport networks combining railroad and maritime routes. This integration will enhance trade efficiency and reduce transportation costs, making Chinese goods more competitive in global markets. For instance, the development of the China-Europe Railway Express has already shown the potential of rail networks in facilitating trade. Digital Silk Road. The digital component of the BRI, often referred to as the Digital Silk Road, will gain traction. Investments in telecommunications, e-commerce, and digital infrastructure will be prioritized, creating a more interconnected global economy. This digital focus will also enhance trade facilitation and logistics. 4. Geopolitical implications. Strategic alliances. The BRI is likely to influence geopolitical dynamics, particularly in regions like Central Asia and the Middle East. Countries within these areas may deepen their alliances with China, creating a counterbalance to Western influence. Additionally, China's partnerships with countries like Russia and Iran will further solidify its position as a key player in global geopolitics. Regional tensions. However, the BRI may also exacerbate tensions, particularly in regions where China's influence is seen as encroaching. Countries like India may respond with their own infrastructure initiatives to counterbalance BRI projects in South Asia, leading to a more competitive geopolitical landscape. 5. Technological innovation. Smart infrastructure. The integration of technology into BRI projects will become increasingly important. Innovations such as smart cities, automated transportation systems, and advanced logistics solutions will be prioritized to enhance project efficiency and effectiveness. Cybersecurity concerns. As digital infrastructure expands, so will concerns about cybersecurity. Future BRI projects may need to address these vulnerabilities, ensuring that they are resilient against cyber threats, which will be critical for maintaining trust among participating nations. 6. Cultural exchanges and soft power. Cultural diplomacy. The BRI is expected to foster greater cultural exchanges between China and partner countries. Initiatives aimed at promoting cultural understanding and collaboration will likely become integral to the BRI. Enhancing China's soft power and influence abroad. Education and training programs. Educational exchanges and training programs for local workers will become more common. This approach will help build local capacity, ensuring that countries involved in BRI projects can effectively manage and sustain the infrastructure developed. Conclusion. The Belt and Road Initiative is poised for a transformative future that will not only reshape global trade but also redefine geopolitical dynamics. As China adapts to the changing global landscape, the BRI will likely evolve to emphasize sustainability, technological innovation, and regional connectivity. While challenges remain, particularly regarding debt sustainability and geopolitical tensions, the potential for positive change through the BRI remains significant. The next decade will be crucial in determining the long-term impacts of this ambitious initiative on the global economy and international relations.